Detroit done through and through. Welcome back, Steve here. First and foremost, before I get started today, I gotta say, man, I'm having a fantastic day today. I don't want to put my personal business out there, but I went to the doctors today and I just got some incredible news. So I'm feeling great. The only thing that's going to make me feel even better is if I get to talk some Detroit Lions football, which I'm going to do right now. Before I get into it, hit that subscribe button. Just real quick, it is Thursday, June 6th. I'm going to talk real quick about just some stuff that I've been hearing from training camp, mini camp. I'm sorry, not a full recap video, just some stuff that's kind of sticking out to me. I will do a recap video if I feel like there's a need to do so. I know they still got a practice going on today. But I just want to talk about some people who have been sticking out. And this is not a ranking show. This is not a 1 through 4 or whatever. I got some guys on my list that I'm just going to talk about. This is in no particular order. So let me just put that out there. If you guys got someone who's sticking out to you that you've seen on Twitter or some highlights or stuff, leave it in the comments and we'll have a little discussion about it. But the very first name, I got to talk about Jameson Williams. He's looked phenomenal so far this spring, looking really good. I saw a clip on Twitter yesterday of him making an over-the-shoulder catch along the sidelines from Jared Goff, and that catch was over Carlton Davis III. That's supposed to be our number one receiver or number one cornerback versus our number 2 receiver. I will say this, Carlton Davis was in a fantastic position. He looked like he was playing some really sticky coverage. It was just a phenomenal throw, phenomenal catch. And what makes me so excited about this is Jameson Williams has kind of had a label of not having the best hands, but on this, I know it's just one catch. On this one catch, he did look like he had a really good track of the ball, made a phenomenal throw, looked pretty pumped up on the sidelines too, because after he caught it, he chucked that ball up into the air and did a little flex on Carlton Davis. So I'm excited to watch that battle continue into training camp this summer. Next month, I think we're going to get a training camp update with some dates and times and when fans can actually attend. I believe we're going to get that at the end of the month. If my memory serves me right, they put out the training camp schedule for last season right around the end of June. So keep your eyes out for that. I'm excited to watch it. But Jameson Williams, man, listen, if you guys have been watching this show long enough, you know Jameson Williams is someone we talk about what seems like once a week. That in the backup quarterback position that the Detroit Lions fans just absolutely love for some reason. Jameson Williams, Hendon Hooker, feels like every week we're doing a show. But this one's for a good cause, a good reason. J-Mo's looking good this spring. And real quick, I'm going to mention this. Jared Goff, after practice, was interviewed, and I can't remember who asked him, or I can't really give a full context of the quote, but they were talking about Jameson Williams and Jared Goff, this being J-Mo's first real offseason, coming off of the injury, the suspension last year. This is kind of his first real full spring, full summer of training camp that he's going to be getting. And Jared Goff just said, it's nice that we're on the same page. I think that's just I think that is more important of a quote than anything you can see on a football field, because last year when you were watching J-Mo and Goff, there were some times where it just looked a little off. Like maybe the ball was just a little underthrown. Maybe it was thrown to the wrong shoulder. I remember the Baltimore Ravens game specifically. J-Mo was pretty much wide open. Goff, did he underthrow him? Was it a bad throw? Did J-Mo overrun it? I don't know, but it's just kind of something that came to mind. It just didn't look like they were on the same page on that play. So for Jared Goff in this interview, this question, to come out and say, we are on the same page, has me more excited than anything Jameson Williams could have done on a football field today. But I mean, that's a good thing to see as well. Next, I'm going to talk about Alim Mcneill. And I kind of talked about him the other day, so I'm not going to beat a dead horse. I'm just kind of go over the finer points of Alim Mcneill and how good he's looked this spring. Contract year for Alim Mcneill. And why do I say it in that type of tone is because Dan Campbell today was asked something along the lines of, I don't want to say the exact quote because I can't remember the exact wordage, but someone asked Dan Campbell in his press conference today if he thinks that people or players playing in a contract year is a real thing. And Dan Campbell said, basically, we don't want guys who are playing in contract years. We don't want that type of mentality. We want guys who are going to show up every day, every play, every snap, regardless of if it's a contract year or if you've got a brand new 5-year deal. It doesn't matter to him. We don't want those types of guys, is essentially what Dan Campbell said. We want guys who are going to show up and just play football and not worried about that contract year, that stigma of, oh, well, it's a contract year. I got to play a little bit harder. He basically was saying, I want guys who are going to play hard 24/7, no matter what your contract situation is. And I like that. Yesterday, I found this kind of funny. Dan Campbell, I think he was joking, but maybe he wasn't when he was talking about the fullback position and how the Detroit Lions don't have an actual fullback listed on their roster. I don't know what Jason Kabinda is listed as technically. I know Malcolm Rodriguez played a little fullback last year. I've kind of thrown out the idea that maybe Ben Johnson gets a little creative and uses Sione Vaki as type of a fullback this season. Another little wrinkle, Sione Vaki coming from Utah would be he's got a running back history. So putting him back there at fullback as a nice little Ben Johnson gadget play, I'll say, is something I can foresee happening in the future. But Dan Campbell, like I said, I think he was joking, but I'm not 100% sure when Dan Campbell's joking or not. Said that, maybe we could put Alim back there. Maybe we could put him at fullback. And I think Alim Mcneill caught wind of this because yesterday on Twitter, Alim Mcneill posted his high school football highlights where he was playing running back. And I'm not going to lie, the big man had some moves. This guy was juking and running past people in high school. And he's not as big as he is today, but you could tell back in high school, he was still a big old boy and he was getting down the field and ended up scoring a touchdown. So I think he might have caught wind of what Dan Campbell's thinking about doing with him at the fullback position. So that's just kind of a funny thing. And real quick, I think I have to have a new nickname for Alim Mcneill because when I'm taking notes, I type Alim into my iPad and I kind of put some notes next to it. I keep kind of glancing over to see, some points that I want to make. Every time I type Alim, my autocorrect tries to change it to Slim. So I think I'm going to have to start calling him Slim McNeil because last year's body transformation where he lost like 40 pounds and kind of went down to weight. I think that's kind of the universe telling me that Alim Mcneill actually needs to go by Slim McNeil. I think that's a good nickname for him too. Leave it in the comments. Let me know how you guys feel about that. I got two more names, guys. And again, this is not a ranking show. I am not trying to say this guy looked better than this guy or anything like that. I'm just took down some names. I'm on here to talk a little football. I'm going to talk about Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell, day one of mandatory minicamp, probably had the most impressive day. He had 2 interceptions, dropped a third one, I heard, from Hendon Hooker. Haven't seen any video of it yet. I'm just going off of sources that I have on Twitter that said that Hendon Hooker kind of gifted him one, but Jack Campbell couldn't reel it in. Had 2 other interceptions, and some people are like, well, it was a batted pass. It doesn't matter. It's a turnover. Are you going to bitch and complain if in a real game a ball gets tipped and Jack Campbell catches it and our offense gets another possession? No. An interception is an interception. Sometimes they're ugly, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's a turnover. Whether it's for the Detroit Lions or against the Detroit Lions, it's just the world we have to live in. So some people were kind of nitpicking, like, I don't care. We got the ball. Our offense is coming on the field in a real life situation. Jack Campbell's out there making plays. We've talked about Jack really blossoming and growing into a more dominant linebacker. I think he's got all the tools, just a little bit wet behind the ears, still learning the game, of the speed of the NFL compared to college. He's going to get it. He's always at the bottom of those piles. I'd like to see him kind of stuffing those gaps a little harder, a little faster, a little bit faster reactions, but I'm not worried about Jack Campbell at all. I was talking with a buddy the other night when we were out to the bar, just kind of having some beers. We were just kind of talking some football, and he said, who do you think were the most important? He didn't ask. It was kind of like we were just kind of shooting the shit. And we came up with, last year's NFL draft class for the Detroit Lions had the first 2 rounds were absolutely stacked for us. I mean, we had Jack Campbell, Laporta, Gibbs. Who am I missing? There? Brian Branch. Sorry. Wow. I can't believe I forgot Brian Branch. Jack Campbell's probably the 4th one on that list when it comes to those top 4 rookies. And I'm just like, it's not because of Jack Campbell. It's just because those other 3 guys are just absolute studs. But I do really think that Jack Campbell is going to join them in that conversation where if we were to rank those 4 guys again in 2 or 3 years from now, I'm not so sure who's going to be 1 through 4. But I think it's going to be a very, very good debate. Maybe we spin that into an episode. I'll have to make a little mental note of that going forward. Maybe we rank those first 2 round picks later on down the road, and we see kind of how they stack up against each other. But good competition, end of story. I mean, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that iron sharpening iron. I think Jack Campbell is going to be a phenomenal pro. I think this is going to be a huge year for him. Lastly, this is the last guy on my list. Just kind of wrote his name down. Everything I've seen from Terrion Arnold playing that second outside corner spot so far in practices with Carlton Davis on the other side doesn't really surprise me. I kind of foreseen that coming. And he's playing very well. I think it was, I can't remember if it was the first day or yesterday where he was man-to-man with pretty much Amon-Ra St. Brown. And all the quotes I was seeing was he held his own against Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now, St. B is one of the best in the league, and he eventually got a touchdown on him, but that's just going to happen. You're talking about Amon-Ra being one of the best route runners in the NFL, in my opinion. I put him in that top 5. He's just really shifty and knows how to get open. Obviously, that's why he's, the top dog on our team, making that big money, well-deserved. So to throw Terrion Arnold coming out of college and saying, hey, you're going to be a Detroit Lion, you're going to be the starting cornerback on the opposite side of Carlton Davis. The Lions have some weapons. He's getting thrown to the wolves and saying, hey, go out and cover guys like Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Donovan Peoples-Jones eventually, Sam Laporta eventually. It's not an easy task. And so far, small sample size, I know Terrion Arnold, but I just like what I see. I think he's going to develop really well. I'm excited to see him get into the summer workouts, training camp. I think he's really going to blossom. Honorable mention. I only had 4 guys I really wanted to talk about, but I couldn't get off here without talking about Broderick Martin real quick, just because yesterday I was playing around on Twitter and I saw a clip of Broderick Martin and Mekhi Wingo doing a drill. It was just kind of like I think some people on Twitter didn't really understand what was going on. Like, it wasn't like a one-on-one full speed. This was kind of just Broderick Martin working on that first step. It kind of looked like against Mekhi Wingo, who's a rookie. And I want to talk about him going down the road real soon, because I'm very excited about him as well. But Broderick Martin was just absolutely manhandling him. And again, I know it was just a drill. I know it was just kind of like a reaction drill, but Broderick Martin looked pretty good. It looked pretty scary. Mekhi Wingo he's not the biggest man in the world. I believe he's about 6'1", so he's got a low center of gravity. And we're talking about Broderick Martin. We've talked about his get off, his leverage. It looked good. It was one clip. I know I'm trying to, pump the brakes on my excitement, but it was nice to see. If we can see more of that going forward, look out. This defensive line is going to be scary. So, guys, just a quick little, I guess I'll call it a recap, even though I know we're still having some practices going on. I just want to get on here, talk about a few guys. I don't see anything drastically changing between today and tomorrow. If anyone else really stands out today, I'll hop on here. I'll talk about it, but leave some comments down below. Stick around, subscribe. We'll be back later with another show.